And Tamika, you came under some fire for your relationship with Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam. Now, he's known for being anti-Semitic, for being homophobic, but you do attend his events, and you posted, I believe, a photo together calling him the GOAT, which means the greatest of all time. And you are running an organization that says it fights bigotry. Do you understand why your association with him is quite problematic?
Will the Women's March president disavow a notorious anti-Semite, or will she double down?
Because you go into a space with someone does not mean that you agree with everything that they say.
But let me push back a little bit. Why call him the greatest of all time?
I didn't call him the greatest of all time because of his rhetoric. I called him the greatest of all time because of what he's done in Black communities.
She doubled the fuck down. I find that quite remarkable because I get the feeling that if it were a white person who had done so much for the Black community but also happened to be a racist, she probably wouldn't be quite as forgiving. The comments in this are great. So she thinks Farrakhan is greater than MLK Jr., Rosa Parks, etc. in terms of what they had done for African American communities. I guess so. So close to, well, he made the trains run on time. Yeah, that really is, isn't it? And naturally, comparisons to Hitler weren't far behind. I didn't say Hitler was the greatest because of his rhetoric. I said it because of what he did for the German economy. It's excusable when they do it. That's the thing. That's the thing you have to understand. It's okay when they do it, because they see the world along the view of power dynamics, and as far as they're concerned, they don't have the power. The DNC have disassociated with the Women's March, which is pretty eyebrow-raising, because I thought they might have endorsed that kind of thing. They've joined the list of organisations who have broken with the National Women's March group following the controversy that I've covered in previous videos. A leader of the Jewish Democratic Council of America, which defines itself as the voice of Jewish Democrats and socially progressive pro-Israel values. That's very interesting because I think there's a bit of a contradiction there with the progressiveness and the pro-Israelness, because the progressives seem to be uniformly anti-Israel, which I don't think means anti-Semite, but I definitely do think it means that can't be racist to Israelis. They say that naturally they support the objectives, but can't support because of the anti-Semitism. To prove they weren't anti-Semitic, they decided to get some Jewish friends. Not only did they appoint 3 Jews to the steering committee of the Women's March, but they got rabbis, left-wing, obviously rabbis, they say liberal, but what they mean is leftist rabbis, to endorse the Women's March after addressing the anti-Semitism concerns. Well, she doesn't seem to have retracted her statement. 9, quote, liberal rabbis endorsed the Women's March after meetings with organisers Linda Sarsour and Tamika Mallory, sharing their concerns about anti-Semitism. The rabbis said in a letter that they'd engaged in frank discussions about the issues that are dividing our communities with Sarsour and Mallory, including the latter's ties to the Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan. Has Louis Farrakhan changed his mind? Or does he consider you to be termites? That's the question that these liberal rabbis have to ask. Though the letter acknowledged that differences remained, it encouraged members of the Jewish community to attend the march on Saturday. Well, the differences would appear to still be there. But the thing is, she wouldn't even condemn it. I don't have the rest of that clip, unfortunately, but they give us a transcript of what they said. She says, "Do you condemn Farrakhan's remarks about Jewish people? We didn't make those remarks," Mallory responded, the leader, one of the co-leaders. "I don't agree with many of Minister Farrakhan's statements. Do you condemn them?" McCain asked again. "I don't agree with those statements. It's not my language, it's not the way I speak, it's not how I organise. I should never be judged through the lens of a man. You won't condemn it." No, she won't. She won't condemn it. Because I guess if you're looking through a lens of racial power dynamics, then you come to certain conclusions. Like the conclusions the white nationalists come to. The conclusions that the black supremacists come to, apparently. So, is it perhaps about time to knock off the racial lens? Is it time to just say, you know what, we're not going to start worrying about white privilege or black oppression. Let's actually talk about real injustices, where procedure has not been followed, and cops are getting away with doing things that are bad, things that are actually tangible, that everyone can agree that these are genuine injustices, rather than having 2 giant sides split over whether something was racist or not.